Hey YouTube, and welcome back to another English beer review here at Thomas Opent, the Dutch rambler on YouTube, who can't shut up about beers. I figured it was time for another English review, and I'm already apologizing for the fact that you guys can probably hear my laundry machine in the background, but you know, that is what it is. And I think I can talk louder than a whitewashing machine, so, you know, there we go. Anyway, what do we have here? We have the Campfire Porter by Box Social Brewing. Box Social Brewing from the UK. You guys want to check them out, go to www.boxsocial.pub. You can find them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. This is their Campfire Porter. It's porter coming in at 7% ABV, and it contains, here we go, water, wheat, barley, oats, hops, yeast, lactose, coffee, vanilla, marshmallow, and cacao. I think that's just about everything you can chuck at a porter and still get away with it. Yeah, it sounds pretty intense. It's a very simple black can with a black sort of, I don't know, marble pattern sticker on it. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty inviting. This is what I like when I buy a stout or a porter. I want those cans to sort of scream dark, you know, with the golden details sort of telling me this is something luscious and luxurious. I'm hoping. I mean, we're talking about lactose. We're talking about wheat. We're talking about oats. We're talking about something that should basically be thick, luscious, creamy. I'm really hoping that even despite though it's only 7 ABV, it should still be pretty thick. I'm hoping. Let's just pour the damn thing out and see what we've got. Now this will be my first Box Social Brewing beer. Heard some pretty good things about them, so you know, let's just see what she's got. Yeah, she pours like a porter, lighter in color than you would expect from a stout, of course. It pours a little bit more towards, in the pour, it looks a little bit like a double. And when, I don't know if you guys can see it, but you know, it's pretty clear actually. In the bottom, you got a lot of brown notes there. It sort of looks like a Coca-Cola in the bottom. And the further up you get, it looks, you know, like your black porter, what you would expect with a, you know, nearing mocha color, very off-white, beige head. It looks like a porter. It looks the part, and that's all you really want, you know. I'm sort of expecting there might be a lot of it in the bottom, so I really do want to pour everything out later on. But let's just go to the nose first and see what you got, right? Well now, hello. That's coffee for days. That's coffee, and I'm not even talking about in a good way. This smells like the coffee when you brew coffee and you smell at the wet coffee in the filter when it's still warm, when it still has that inviting coffee smell, not the cold, coarse, yucky stuff. No, when it's just poured over, that's the kind of coffee you get. Freshly brewed, intense coffee. Fucking little fruit flies all the freaking everywhere. So that's the first thing you get. Lots of deep roasted coffee notes. Earthy, very earthy, pungent. That pungent, earthy note really has that going for it. This is a lot less sweet. There's almost like a near burnt, ashy quality to it. I really expected something a lot more sweeter in the nose. This is interesting. Wow, that's intense. That is so incredibly intense. Oh, I could smell this for days. Coffee, roast, earthy. I'm really not getting any of that lactose and wheat and vanilla yet. This is just pure coffee for days right now. There's almost that sort of earthy note you can get from some chilies. Or if you got like sambal, really good sambal, you also have that earthy, sort of almost pungent spice note. My God, that smells great. I'm really hoping this is going to open up a little bit more in the nose though, because I'm a little bit disappointed I'm not getting a lot of that lactose, vanilla, marshmallow component. I'm getting a little bit of the cacao now. Yeah, okay, there's the vanilla coming through. And I think I'm picking up on what they mean. Like that marshmallow. Damn, that is some intense stuff. I'm gonna have to go in and take a sip, guys. Cheers. Well, that smacks you around, doesn't it? Jesus. Holy. Okay, so, first off, it's a bit thin. The body's a bit thin. I expected a little bit more. It's still slightly creamy, but not like when you think about a beer with wheat and oats and lactose and of course barley, you expect something a little bit thicker than this. It's not thin like lager thin or pilsner thin. No, of course not. It's still it's more luxurious than that. It's also not as thick as I thought it could be. But then again, it is only 7 ABV. Here's the kicker though. Where the nose was, I'm diabetes in my mouth. There's diabetes in my mouth. Where the nose was just incredibly roasted and dark and deep and earthy and pungent, and you expect something like an intense bitter roast aroma. This thing is like a mouthful of melted marshmallow. Molten marshmallow. Melted? Molten. Molten? Melted. Fuck it, whatever. That. Purely. It's coating my teeth. It hurts nearly. That sweet. That's a bit of a hyperbole, but still, it's so incredibly sweet. It's insane. There's that lactose coming in. There's those marshmallows coming in. The vanilla. And part of me thinks that's amazing, and part of me thinks it's a little bit lacking in balance, where I really thought the nose would be a little bit more both, and the flavor would be a little bit more both, because when it comes to the coffee, and especially, did it say cacao or cocoa? Cocoa. This doesn't make any sense. Jesus. Okay. Now it's balancing out a little bit more when you make sure you take a sip straight after you smell it. See, the thing is, 80% of what we perceive in flavor comes from what we smell, from what we can pick up in our nose. We only taste basically sweet and sour and salty and everything, and real flavor comes from what we can smell. There's where the real big distinctions come from. So if you were to sniff this, and then wait like I did in the beginning, and then talk a little bit about it, and then take a sip, you're mostly left with that cloying sweetness from the marshmallow. If you smell this beer, if you take a good whiff of it, and then the roasted qualities from the malts, the coffee, they're much more evident in the palate than they are if you wait too long. Having said that, the nose is still a lot more roast, where the flavor is a lot more sweet. It could use a little bit more balance. I'm going to really have to think this one over when it comes to a rating, because I'm going, in my head, I'm going anywhere from 3.75 to 4.25 right now, because there's things out in there I'm picking up that make me go, wow! And there's stuff in there that make me go a little bit like, I don't know. But holy crap, this thing is, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. I'm not picking up a lot of that cocoa though, so. Because of the lactose, because of those marshmallows, and because of that vanilla, most of the roasted notes have this sort of how do I put this? Well, yeah, think about chocolate. When you think about the cocoa, when you think about chocolate, for me, chocolate usually means I love my pure chocolates. I like anything in 70 to 90%, cacao. I want the bitter stuff. So you get some of those cocoa notes, you get a little bit of cacao, you get a little bit of that chocolate, but because of the vanilla, because of everything else, it makes you think about pastry, but in a bit almost artificial kind of way. So not the well-made proper bakery pastry, but like your cheap stuff from sort of like supermarkets or whatever, where everything is way too confectionery sugary and there's way too much artificial flavoring going on. Like we can make chocolate, but we can put proper chocolate in there and make it really, good, like a good bakery would, or we can add a lot of cheap stuff to it and make it a lot more cheaper to buy, but also a lot more artificial in its flavoring. Now, I'm making all of this sound very negative towards the beer. And they call it a campfire porter because they want to invoke these things like sitting next to a fire with, all those burning smells, everything is roasting and fiery and all of that's going on. You get that in your face in terms of smell, but they want you to think about eating s'mores, the roasted marshmallows. And that's what's going on in your mouth. So when it comes to that, they actually nailed that part. They really nailed that part. But on the other hand, it's a little bit unbalanced. That is so fucking weird. It really is. It's tasty though. It's tasty. It's borderline not beer anymore, maybe? Borderline? Wow. It's a weird beer. It's a nice beer. It's a weird beer. Reminds me of some of the Omnipolo stuff, I think for a final rating, I would probably go for a 4 out of 5. Right now, I'm going to keep it at 4 out of 5, but if you really want to know, keep an eye out for my Untapped. You might see this one pop by, or you might want to look for it and see, like, what did Thomas give this beer? It's okay. It's more than okay. It's actually quite tasty, but this is a mood kind of beer. Not every moment calls for, I'm going to sit next to a campfire and roast some marshmallows. You want to be in the mood for that. You want to be in a mood for a beer like this. I'm not 100% sure I'm in a mood for a beer like this right now. Having said that, though, I'm going to try and stay as, unopinionated as I can. And I'm going to leave it at a 4 for now, 4 out of 5, because I do enjoy it quite a lot. But this is probably, after this, I'm probably not going to go for a lot of sweet beers today anymore. This is probably, I'm going to go for a lot of savory stuff, because, holy shit, I have a dentist appointment on Monday. This might just have fucked me over. Yeah. Box Social Brewing's Campfire Porter. I highly suggest you check this one out if you can. You can still find it somewhere. I'd say go for it. I'd say go for it because it's an experience. I'm not, whether or not you're going to like it, I don't know. But it's an experience. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Experiencing beer. So yeah. That's it. Another review done. I hope you liked it. If you did, press the like button. If you really, really liked it, hit that subscribe button. Leave some comments in the bottom. Have you ever had anything from Box Social Brewing? Have you ever had their Campfire Porter? What's your opinion on adjuncts like marshmallows and vanilla and cacao and anything of the sort? Leave some comments. I love to hear it. In the description box below, you can find links to my Untapped, my Instagram, and my Facebook page. You'll find beers that I do have some things to say about, but don't review them. And you can find a link to the Dutch Beer Collective. Go check it out. It's mostly self-explanatory. It's also in Dutch, so it's probably not that it doesn't explain itself all that well if you don't speak Dutch. But yeah, it's a little bit of a collective thing, like I said, for Beer Geek Holland, Dutch Beer Geek, and myself, you can find our reviews, links to our social media, stuff like that. So go check that one out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in another review. Cheers.